Hi, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about a transition script that I have found to be very helpful when you are transitioning from a discovery call or initial consultation into your ongoing care offer. Now, this could be a program, a membership. It doesn't really matter what that package is. What matters is how do you transition from this initial appointment into how you would approach their case moving forward. Now, I frame this in the rule of threes. So, what I recommend that you say to patients is you basically normalize what they might be experiencing or thinking in between this initial consult and your ongoing plan. So, in the incubator program, most of the physicians we work with offer something that we call a foundational assessment, which is a 90-minute paid appointment where you are doing an assessment. You're doing a deep dive into the patient's current state of health and assessing the patient's long-term goals. So we are typically assessing labs, we're assessing history, we're performing a physical, we're doing a comprehensive lifestyle and environmental assessment of them. So it's a 90-minute, pretty robust appointment. With that appointment, some foundational recommendations are given. So we might give foundational recommendations for vitamin or mineral deficiencies, some basic supplementation to replace whatever might be deficient, along with some lifestyle interventions. So a low inflammatory diet or some other lifestyle interventions around the 6 pillars. So connection, sleep, movement, stress management, and so on and so forth. So those 6 lifestyle pillars. Now, so now let's fast forward to the end of this appointment. When you're talking to the patient, how the best way to transition is this that I have realized. It's number one, you say, okay, so this is the plan for you. And you go over the supplement plan as well as the lifestyle plan and say, okay, listen, now as you move forward with this plan, one of 3 things is going to happen. About 30% of my patients, they feel a lot better with this initial plan. And this is why we give you, and most of our physicians, 1 to 2 months. They let the patients decide over a course of 1 to 2 months if they want to move forward with the membership. They don't move forward, then they receive a discontinuation of care letter. But you would say, if you feel a lot better with just these interventions, that may have been just what you needed. And that's wonderful. That's the point of this foundational assessment. Another caveat I want to mention is that most of our doctors charge at least $595, $695 for this assessment. So you are compensated for your time. This isn't a quick little meet and greet for $50 or $75. So it's a substantial amount of effort, time, and it's a really healing appointment. So if that is the case, then what I recommend you say to these patients is like, that's wonderful. And you can always come back once a year and we can do this foundational assessment together. If some new symptoms come up, you can come back and we can reassess and move from there. So about a third of my patients, that's where they land. And that's amazing. The second third of my patients, what'll happen is that they will execute the plan. They will take the supplements. They will change their diet. They will work on their sleep and their movement and their stress and all of these things. And they're only going to feel. And so if you're talking to a patient, you say, you may only feel 20% better, 25% better. I want to normalize this for you because this foundational plan is just that. It's foundational. This is just the tip of the iceberg with the information I have in front of me now. So if you execute the plan and you only feel incrementally better, I do not want you to get frustrated. If you're a provider, what we need to remember with this is that you are basically telling the patient what they may expect, so that if on their own the patient experiences that, they don't automatically think, oh, this isn't going to work for me because I did everything and it didn't really work. So getting ahead of that narrative that they might just have in their mind, and you're normalizing that. So what I say to patients is, if you only feel 20% better and you executed the plan, that's a signal to me that we have to dig a bit deeper. There's other things going on a deeper level that I need to further investigate. So every detail, every outcome is data, and it helps point the decision-making process in medicine, right? My toolkit is large. My bench is deep. So there's a lot of things that I can continue to do and work on. I just don't want you to feel frustrated if that happens to be your experience. that means that you would be a perfect candidate for my membership or insert your ongoing care program because in the membership, I'm going to see you regularly every 6 to 8 weeks. We're going to peel back the layers of this dysfunction. We're going to figure out what's more on this root cause level from a medical standpoint, but then also we'll be simultaneously working on your external environment. And this is what we will work on over the next 12 months. So if you fall into that bucket, don't feel frustrated. It just means that we have more work to do and it's just more deeper, personalized investigative work. The third group of patients that I see is so they may not feel better after the foundational assessment, but it's because they weren't able to execute it. So what I say to patients in this scenario is I was like, some patients, they just don't have the bandwidth to execute the plan. They might have all the intentions. They may have bought the supplements. They may have gone grocery shopping, but they just really had a hard time sticking with it. And just for you all to know, I typically normalize this because I think a lot of patients can sometimes feel some shame and guilt around like, how perfect we might all need to be when nobody's perfect. And so I just say it can be hard for anybody to make these changes and to execute these plans. And this is why in the membership, we have X, Y, and Z. So you highlight the support you have. This is why I see you regularly. This is why we have handouts and we have group classes and this other support that can really walk alongside you. And what I always tell patients is, listen, I will move at your pace. I have some patients that for 6 months, we're working on their nutrition, their sleep, and some foundational interventions. And that's perfect. That's the pace that they need to be at. There's other patients that they are just ready to go. They want it all and they want it fast and they're ready to run. That's fine. I'm ready to run alongside them. But if you fall into that camp where life is just a lot and you need somebody in your corner walking alongside you, I just want to normalize that is completely fine. And this foundational plan is just the first step. And how much you're able to execute of it, how much you're able to bring these changes into your daily life will give me a lot of information about how I might adjust my plan moving forward. So if you do find yourself in that camp, I hope I hear from you. I hope you decide to move forward because I've spent a lot of time and effort creating this membership in a way that supports people just like you. So to recap, if you are doing an initial consultation and you have created an ongoing care model, I find that transition works really beautifully. You basically highlight 3 different buckets that patients might fall into, you normalize them, and you basically highlight the 2 where somebody executes the plan but doesn't feel better or isn't able to execute the plan, how the membership or how your ongoing care model can really support them. And then for the patients that feel better, you're not trying to have an unethical sales process. You're just like, if you feel better, great. Maybe I'll see you once a year for a similar workup. And I hope you stay within our orbit, but I'll be so happy if that was just what you needed to reach your health goals. So I hope this was helpful and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot.